Hey, I'm Aiden Helfont. I'm a junior at Hamilton Central High School, and today we're going to be doing a Q&A with Mr. Dowson for the Tech Club about some of the most pressing questions that a lot of the students have been having. So let's start with probably the biggest one. Do you think we'll be going back to school during this school year at any time?
That is a big one, Aiden, and I think that's the $1 million question that everybody wants answered, including myself. And I like to be optimistic. However, I can't speculate. We have been working under the guidance of the governor's executive orders, and right now the facts are that we are closed at least until May 15th.
Yeah.
So, even if we were to reopen, there are so many protocols and procedures that are going to have to be put in place, as far as social distancing, the disinfecting of the building on a daily basis. It's going to be a real challenge for schools to open at this time, so, as optimistic I am, I'm realistic that we could very well not open for the rest of the year, but we'll wait to see what the governor decides in his next executive order. In his press conference today, he did state that he would have an answer for us next week, so stay tuned.
All right, thank you. For our next question, what are your plans for completing the school year and moving forward into next? When will contingency plans be publicized?
Again, we're at the mercy of the governor and his executive orders. As far as our plans for the remainder of the year, our virtual learning plan is out to parents. Our teachers are doing a wonderful job with the continuous learning. As far as contingency plans for the rest of the year in the summer, we just don't know. It'll depend on what the governor decides as far as how we proceed going forward from May 15th on.
Thank you. Also, another one that a lot of people have been asking, when we return to school, will teachers, students, and support staff need to wear masks, or will we be able to just walk around like normal?
Well, my bet would be yes, that we would have to wear masks. That's just my personal opinion. It's not a mandate at this time. Again, we'll have to wait to see what the governor says in his executive order. But in anticipation of this, we've begun to explore pricing and the availability of masks, and whether those masks will be reusable, whether they'll be disposable. There's so many different layers to all of these protocols. For instance, if they're reusable, are students going to have to launder them? Would the school launder them? Would there be disinfecting policies and procedures that would have to be instituted? And when you think about our young learners, our kindergartners, our pre-K students, really difficult for them to keep a mask on during the day. But to answer your question, I think yes, it's realistic that we would have to wear masks. We'll just wait to see what the governor's mandate is.
All right, thank you. And also another one, will we still have prom, or is that probably out of the question?
I think it's out of the question at this time. The prom is scheduled for May 9th. We are closed at least until May 15th. So as of now, the prom is postponed, but I think it's really unlikely that we will be able to reschedule the prom for this year, unfortunately.
Okay, thank you. And if the seniors' graduation is canceled, would we be able to have one in July, or is that also not in the question?
Well, I can't predict what the social distancing guidelines will look like in July. I can tell you that Mr. Arquette is looking at some alternative options for a graduation ceremony at this time. Our seniors deserve a graduation ceremony. They will have a graduation ceremony. What that will look like, we just don't know at this time. It'll all depend on if we are open, what the social distancing guidelines will be, and what we are allowed to do and not allowed to do. But Mr. Arquette is hard at work, and he will solicit feedback from our seniors on what is the best option or alternate plans to have a graduation ceremony. But our seniors deserve it, and they will have some sort of graduation ceremony.
All right, well, thank you. And those videos that the teachers are making are very funny, so keep them up. Are there plans to have consistent online instruction / teaching?
Consistent online, I guess that if that's referring to synchronous learning, it's really difficult because many of our families have different home life options or scenarios. Some of our students are watching their siblings. Some of our students are displaced into other family members' homes. So we want to be cognizant and understanding of everybody's home life situation. So, we have asked our teachers to offer both synchronous, asynchronous, and a combination of both, so that we're meeting the needs of all of our learners. And that's clearly stated in our virtual learning plan that our teachers are delivering at this time. So, we want to be equitable and be understanding of everybody's home life situations.
Okay. And what are our plans for professionalizing and standardizing communication between teachers, parents, and students?
Well, I would hope that all of our communication with parents and students is professional. As far as standardizing, we have a number of different platforms that we use. We are a pre-K through 12 building, and I know our young learners and their families are used to using Seesaw. Our intermediate level families use Google Classrooms. Our middle school uses Google Classroom and Schoology, and our secondary students use Google Classroom and Schoology. So we have a number of different platforms, and I know that can be frustrating for families and students. But right now, those are the platforms that we use for this year, and our families and students are consistent with. With that said, we are having discussions of streamlining our communication platforms next year. So we have either one or two consistent platforms. So it's easier if we're in this situation again, God forbid, that it's easier and less frustrating for families and students alike.
All right. Well, thank you so much. This is the last question, I think. So, could you tell us about your haircutting experience with obviously the haircutters not being open in town?
Well, that's a good one to end on, Aiden.
Yeah.
So I cut my own hair.
Oh,
I do
okay.
have the hair there is left. I do cut it. I have clippers at home. It takes me about 5 minutes maximum to give me a nice clean cut. So not like some like you have a great head of hair and I don't. So,
Well, I
but I
actually
do
had my
cut my
mom
own
cut
hair,
it for
so
me, so yeah,
yeah,
I
yeah. So
didn't really have any other options, so I had to go with
good one.
that. Well, thank you so much for coming out and helping us with these questions. I know that it's hard to find time with all this stuff going on, and thank you. So, if we have any more questions from students that may arise, we'll be sure to see if there's any way we can get those answered. But once again, thank you for coming out.
You're welcome, and thanks for having me. It's great to see you. I just want to tell everybody that we miss them. We wish we were back in session. We think about everybody daily. I want everybody to stay safe and healthy, practice social distancing, wear masks when you're out in public, and most of all, stay HCS strong. So thank you, Aiden. Look
Thank
forward to
you.
talking to you again.